Good evening, everybody. My name is Mike Cirillo. I go by Ghost Walking on the internet, and tonight we are back for episode 3 of Turn Zero, and we have a special guest tonight. We are joined by Tim, kind of knows how to play the game of Star Wars Legion Hannon and his glorious beard. And tonight we're actually going to have a nice little special episode where we actually go through one of the games that Tim did for our Yavin Base Team League. For those of you who are unaware, it is a 5v5 team-based tournament that we're running through Tabletop Simulator. Enlist from the 5th Trooper has been nice enough to put this on for 4 seasons now, I believe, right?
I think so.
That's
I think we're at 4.
Yeah, it's been going on for a couple of years. So Nick, Tim, Josh, and I are actually on one team, and Keegan decided to defect to our other little side Discords team.
I was assigned.
Not sure why he's here then. But Tim actually had the chance to play Eternal RMG from the Discord. They played a Grievous Bane versus ATST Iden list, and it got a little interesting. Bossk was involved, so we're going to go through it tonight.
Yeah, Bossk's in there too.
And also at the end of tonight, we're going to do our first giveaway. We're going to have some details at the end, but basically we'll have some Clan Ren Mandalorians to give away. If you're in the United States, please stay tuned to the end, and we'll go over how you're going to win them. But in any case, Tim, why don't you go through the list that you brought for us tonight?
Oh, it was an interesting list, to be sure. So because if anyone's ever heard me rant before, I'm not a big believer in bids. So I am 800 points on the nose. Iden, Bossk, two mortars, and ATST with the Surge Pilot and I keep wanting to say TLT. It's my old X-Wing days. The Twin Blaster, the extra rainbow. And then a naked Stormtrooper and a Stormtrooper with the DLT, which I almost made an RTC by accident because I've not played a DLT in so long. Upgrade-wise, Shore Troopers were nothing fancy, just the T21s. Again, DLT, and then Iden had Overwatch, Offensive Push, her Seeker Droid, no repeater, which we'll talk about that at some point. No repeater. And then Bossk had Hunter and Targeting Scopes.
That list is about as scatterbrained as your podcast.
Yes.
No wonder you lost.
It was one of those. Oh, spoiler alert!
Spoilers.
Yeah, I like to keep the audience on their edge. Nick, what did he oppose?
All right. Well, he played Eternal, and he played a droid list, 792 points, 9 activations. We have General Grievous with strict orders, aggressive tactics, endurance, and his DT-57 Annihilator pistol. So a fat Grievous, about as bad as he gets. Cad Bane with Hunter and Ascension cables. A B1 with HQ uplink and Electro binoculars. 5 E5C B1 battle droid units. And a BX commando droid unit with the sniper, offensive push, deflector shields, and a comms relay.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. What table did you guys end up duking it out on? I think, Keegan, you'd like to go over it, right?
Yeah, so they played on the Scarif map. It was a recent introduction in the last season of Invader League. Showed up in the round robin as well as first round of single eliminations. I have a dual relationship with this map. I love it because I think it's a really nice and balanced map that without being truly symmetrical, there's a good scattering of large line of sight blocking all the way down to some small light terrain and some difficult terrain to factor in. I hate it because I played my one and only round of single eliminations in my Invader League career and got my ass kicked by Luke Cook's clone list. So.
Shocking.
To add on to that, this list is also one of my favorite lists. One interesting thing about this list is you can see in the very center it's cut off by a stream. That stream is actually difficult terrain for troops, and the only way to cross across the center of the map is through a bridge that's a little bit larger than range 1 that offers heavy cover. So while the center does appear to have a decent amount of cover, it's difficult to move through. And I think in a lot of the matchups, that's going to play a large role in this.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that, having played about 17,000 games on Scarif at this point. It's a pretty unique table in the fact that you need to move through your difficult terrain stream to get across, but that stream doesn't give any cover, so it's purely punishing and there's no benefit. Mm-hmm. The bridge, if you can't tell from the pictures, is actually a little bit larger than you might expect. Generally, if you're shooting across the bridge, you're shooting into heavy cover. So you do want to make sure that your units are touching there or positioned off to the side with the unit leader if you're going to shoot. So tonight, we have some pretty interesting battle cards. We've got Recover the Supplies, Key Positions, and Payload across the top. We have Major Offensive, the Long March, and Advanced Positions for our deployments. And conditions, we have Limited Visibility, Fortified Positions, and Hostile Environment. So we've got a pretty unique set of cards tonight. There's a lot of, basic ones that we brought in from the original core set, and they're spiced up a little bit with Vital Assets and our Sabotage the Moisture Evaporator set, which I am blanking on the name of. I think it was Priority Supplies.
That's it, yep.
Yeah. So when we're talking about board edge here, let's start with Nick tonight. Which board edge do you think you want to pick as the blue player? And in this case, it is the droid player.
Blue player. I think I want to start at the bottom of the table here. I like the layout of the heavy cover. Near the bottom on the right here, there's this light cover, and then the large rocks there. I like that. I'm going bottom.
All right, and Josh, what do you think?
Every time I've played this, I've always, if I'm blue player, always go towards the top, and I think I'm going to stay going that decision as well, mostly because closer towards the center, you have an equal amount of line of sight blocking terrain. However, it is easier to move around. If you look up towards the top of the board edge, you have those two rocks that have barricades next to it, and then also has the crater beneath it. That is difficult to move around, even though you have pretty large line of sight blocking terrain. Beyond that, towards the bottom, you have the container, which is really the easiest way to approach that center bridge if you don't want to have difficult movement. So I like to take the top side to use that large container next to the river towards the landing pad with a lot of line of sight blocking terrain.
Ian.
I'm with Josh on this one. I like the top, not only for all the good reasons he called out, but with this droid list where I've got Grievous and CAD against a longer range Imperial list, especially with that ATST, I'm thinking about how am I going to be able to move undercover, out of line of sight, getting into that center and getting into engagement without getting blown up on the way in. Knowing what's in my battle deck, you reviewed the cards that we're going over today: Major Offensive, Long March, and Advanced Positions. That's going to give me a strong advantage coming from that far board edge, the short edge. So there's a lot more places to move and hide and use cover if I've got the top with that orientation.
And Tim, take us home.
I not to keep saying the same thing over and over again, but I agree. I think the top is the right choice. Again, especially when you play something, I guess like any armor, but especially an ATST, because of that height, you really need to look for anything you can take that's going to block that line of sight. And I think between the rocks and the tower up there, I think those two things together, I think you gotta go for that top side.
Yeah, so I'm going to put us on the top side tonight. I actually side with Nick in that I like playing from the bottom a little bit more, but when the ATST is on the other side, I do want to make sure that I have the additional piece of cover that little Russian language crate tanker offers in the middle. I think you have better approach angles from the bottom to really get to the middle because you have your light cover that extends just about 1.5 inches closer. But when you're trying to hide from something that has the Eye of Sauron, you want the extra piece of cover. So we're going to start from the top for tonight. So just as a quick refresh, we're going to go through the battle cards one more time because I jumped the gun earlier. We've got Recover the Supplies, Key Positions, and Payload, Major Offensive, Long March, and Advanced Positions, and Limited Viz, Fortified Positions, and Hostile Environment. So we know we have the blue player as the droids. We're starting from the top of the map where we're going to start in the landing pad area from the corner. And let's start with Tim tonight. What do you think the blue player wants to do for his first cut or pass?
Now see, this is interesting because I don't normally play blue player, so I'm put in an interesting situation that I couldn't tell you, actually, genuinely, I could not tell you the last time I was blue player. So it's a very interesting choice. I think I go with I think I go with a pass, actually, here.
Okay,
I think I go with a pass.
that makes sense. Let's go with Nick. What do you think compared to what Tim says?
I think that passing's not terrible here, but I probably am cutting recover the supplies. I think CAD in a lot of cases wants to play recover the supplies, but I think that against Iden and Bossk and an ATST, it's probably a trap. So I probably just want to like make the safe pick here and get rid of that as soon as we start.
Yeah, I like that because while CAD's pretty good, you are out activated. That's a problem. And Josh, what do you think about that?
So what I actually find here is what is it that I don't want red to play? I think recover the supplies, major offensive, and limited visibility are actually my best choices here. So my gut feeling is pass. However, I have to know that what red is going to do is they're going to cut limited visibility, and they are going to recover the supplies. I thought both activation counts were 9 and 9. And then also the Imperial side only having an armor takes them down in activation. So I have a feeling that they're going to recover the supplies. So what it boils down to is, do I want to play key positions or payload? Me personally, not having armor, I don't want to play key positions given the size of that bridge in the center. So I'm going to recover the supplies. Now, however, if I were someone that was okay with key positions here, I would actually pass. But in this case, let's cut it.
You are correct. I did misspeak earlier. It is 9v9. I'm not used to seeing 3 focus pieces for CIS and still getting 9 activations. So good on you, Eternal. You still have a bid with it. Keegan, what do you think? We're actually tied up here.
Yeah, I like all the arguments in here, and what I'm looking at is I'd love it if the red player makes a mistake and gives me limited visibility. So I definitely want to stay away from that bottom row. Kind of extending the thinking on that top row, I don't really want to play recover the supplies against this for all the reasons listed, but I also hate payload for pretty much at this point pretty much entirely arbitrary reasons. So one of the best things that I can do, and getting back to what I was saying earlier about closing that gap and getting into engagement faster and getting under the long range, is to get to advanced positions. So I think I lose nothing by cutting major offensive here. Worst case scenario, I'm set up with a lot of cover to move on long march if I need to cut something else. At best case, I can go all the way to advanced and get limited.
You know, we haven't. Last week was pretty boring. We all agreed, right? So tonight, I'm going to make a pretty interesting decision, and I'm going to agree with Keegan. We're going to cut major offensive here because his idea of getting Grievous to advanced positions to get into the Imperial gun line that doesn't really have any piece to deal with a melee is a pretty good one. So let's go ahead and cut major offensive before we go into the red bid. So, going into this, we now have Long March, recover the supplies, and limited visibility. If you are the red player, what do you want to do? And we're going to start with Nick here.
Oh, sorry, I was muted.
Nick.
Sorry. So if I'm red player, I'm cutting limited visibility all the way. I want my ATS to be able to see and shoot things round 1. Bossk, same deal. T21, same deal. Yeah. It's not a question. Limited visibility's got to go.
Josh, do you agree?
It's pretty easy. I'm cutting limited vis right here. It's going to inhibit Bossk. It's going to inhibit the ATST and the mortars and the T21. It is the worst card to see out here right now. Yeah, limited vis got to go.
Keegan.
Yeah, this one's we can't make this too exciting and pretend that we're playing smart. So,
Tim, do I even need to ask?
Dear listeners, limited visibility. As the red player, limited vis. For all the reasons listed, all of which are valid.
So that was a pretty quick little round there. Let's take a sidebar. Tim, what did you actually cut for your first decision here?
Limited visibility.
Let's try to make this interesting.
No, man, I told you what I cut, man. That's it. There's no way. I'm Imperial. We don't ever put that thing on our deck. We don't let it see the table. That's it.
All right, so we are going to cut limited visibility. It would be fun to not agree with all of you guys, but that would seem wrong. So
it would be wrong. It doesn't seem wrong. It is wrong.
We are now stuck with recover the supplies, the long march, and fortified positions. we're going back to the droids, back to the blue player's second cut. And I'm scrolling back up our notes because this is tough on a phone. Nick, what are you doing for the second cut as a blue player?
So we're playing. I'm cutting recover the supplies, and I'm playing key positions. Same thing I said at the start. I don't want to play recover the supplies with Iden.
But you're playing as the droids. But yeah,
well, against
you
Iden.
still probably don't want to.
I don't
Makes
want
sense.
to.
Yeah.
Tim, what do you think the droid player wants to do here?
I think I don't hate cutting fortified to get the hostile because as a droid player, the suppression is going to bother me a little bit less. But I think I agree. Again, CAD's really good at recovering supplies. The problem is CAD better than Iden at recovering the supplies? I think sometimes yes. With cables on him, I think it could be. So I would actually I would have wanted to keep Major Offensive. So I would probably pass, honestly. Because I also think, too, as the droid player, you can use those barricades to help try and pad your white saves. You're blanking white saves, basically.
I don't know, man. If they can see those white save characters, they can shoot them and kill them.
I don't play those factions, so I don't know. But I'm just assuming.
Keyword. Danger sense is the cool keyword, but it's not worth a lot.
Fair. But I would pass.
All right, Keegan, what do you think?
So I set up my original proposal saying making a rush for advanced positions. I still think that that's a viable play, but I want to go a little deeper on why recover is not as an automatic cancel for me. The Iden thing is scary, but I'm going to be a blue player, which means I get first deployment. And if I'm willing to sacrifice the secrecy advantage of my BXs, I can scout 3 and really block off that range 3 infiltrate, keeping her away from that center box and kind of evening it out again. That combined with some fancy CAD play could be really interesting. So with that in mind, I would probably continue what I'm doing to push all the way to Long March. I briefly considered killing Fortified to get Hostile, just because Hostile would be a lot worse on the Imperials than it would be on the droids. But I don't have a ton of positive experience with the suppression game. So.
Josh.
So I actually think the right choice here is to pass. The reason being is there's a lot of problems with having the ATST and also the way the map is set up for advanced positions. If you were to look towards the bottom and have the ATST set up in the middle of the map on the blue deployment zone, he has a clear shot at almost any approach angle that that blue is going to try and make towards the center of the map. I think putting anyone over, if red deploys anyone on that side, even with recon intel, they're going to take a lot of shots. I think you pass here, hoping that the blue or that the red player, because they have mortars, because they have the ATST, that they get rid of recover the supplies. But honestly, I don't want to see an ATST on this map with advanced positions. I think Long March is going to be a lot better to at least delay, especially because he doesn't have a mortar, to delay the extra shots by another round.
Yeah, so this is going to be a first on our show here. We're actually going to pass. We got 2 people that said pass. I also think it's the right call. I really like the idea of pushing for advanced positions to get that Scout 3 on the BX. The problem there is the BX already have Scout 3. So yes. Even with Long March, you're still going to drop first. You're still going to scout forward, and you'll still keep Iden off the box, letting you put Cad Bane on there. So we are going to pass here, and like Josh said, getting the ATST off of that advanced positions is really key, because there's a little box on the bottom of the screen that you'll see here, and the ATST can actually walk right up on top of the box and have a completely open shot on literally the entire map for Scarif. So being able to deny that and making him walk forward from the long ways from Long March is a really crucial key to actually having the droid player successful here. So we are going to pass for the first time ever. Let's cut to the red player, because I don't need to move a card. And Josh, what do you think the red player wants to do for this final decision?
I think all three of the out of the three objectives, recover the supplies is the worst objective. However, I think I'm going to take a gamble here. No, I'm not. I'm cutting recover the supplies. The size of the ATST base that can just knock the droids off of that center position, not having to worry about CAD possibly taking a box early on. And let's say CAD decides to drop next to one of the boxes, and we lay out our cards, and CAD goes second because you're going to play a 1 or 2 pip, and you don't kill CAD. Now you're playing a game where you have a CAD with Danger Sense activated, has jump, and is running across the map. And even though the ATST is large, if he gets into a good position, I think it's game over. So unfortunately, as much as I'd love to be in advanced positions to take advantage of the positioning, I think cutting recover is going to be the safest, given that I only have 6 units that are going to be able to play it.
And don't forget, CAD has cables too.
Oh yeah, cables. So yeah,
throw that up there as well.
Yeah, and Scarif is pretty cool with that because there's a couple really tall boxes that are just under height 1 that CAD can scale up. And Tim's shaking his head like he saw that on the wrong side.
Maybe.
We're gonna skip Keegan's spot here. And Tim, what do you think the red player does?
Well, that's
Throw
very
your
Keegan.
curveball.
Poor Keegan. I wouldn't skip you in my heart.
Yeah. He knows I'm making joy decisions like a rebel, so it's time to move up past it.
Truthfully, I saw the Jetta shirt.
Now, obviously, I'm biased because, again, I was red player. But for those same exact reasons that Josh mentioned there, like I can't. That cat is too nimble. Like Iden's good. Iden can bop in there and get out, no problem. But between those BXs, and again, looking at the situation we have right now, those BXs, they're going to have Scout 3, obviously. So they're going to be in this place where I can't really effectively infiltrate Iden. You're already going to know that at turn 0, you should already recognize, like, I can't infiltrate her successfully. So if that's the case, and I'm playing against a super mobile CAD, I have to recover the supplies. I have to.
Do you agree, Keegan?
Yeah, I'm not going against you guys now.
Nick, what do you think?
I want to recover the supplies. It's not interesting anymore.
All right.
I was long-winded, guys. Sorry.
No, but you're right, though. Yeah, you're right.
I've been trying to cut it since the first one. So.
That's true.
We are finally going to cut it.
Finally.
So I'm going to throw a curveball into the mix real quick. We didn't talk about this at the start. We didn't talk about it in the pregame show. There are 2 instances of bounty here. We have Bossk on one side and Cad Bane on the other. Let's start with Keegan. Do you think double bounty actually comes into play here when it's present on both sides? And does that influence your thinking when it comes to picking battle cards? Or is it just an after effect that, if it shows up, but it's not a game plan that I'm playing for?
My brain just froze up as far as double bounty. So I forgot how the bounty rules have changed now. If they each bounty each other, and one of them kills the other first, do they then have 2 victory tokens?
They just had 1,
okay.
So you only get the bounty token if you have actually achieved your bounty keyword.
Okay, that's what I thought. So
what a rebel player!
Yeah, I'm not good at secret mission either.
You don't have to be. RT will do it for you.
Yeah, that's fair. I think you're thinking about it. It's definitely more in play. Well, it's not even true. Well, it's potentially more in play for Cad Bane because Iden is going to get, assuming Iden gets deployed a little more forward, so she's a little more vulnerable, and they'll be chasing after that. Bossk can put it on either one. I guess Cad is also getting deployed forward, so I just talked myself in a circle. So it can come into play, but it probably is just going to come down to who kills the other best target first, unless they get really daring and land on the other one.
What do you think, Nick? We've played a couple double bounty lists against each other, I think, now, haven't we?
Yeah, it's. As a rebel player traditionally, and just now getting into droids, bounty on CAD is weird, and it's like I always feel like I'm never going to get it, and that's okay. But if you, I think Bossk probably puts the bounty on Cad, because if he can get Cad, off of like a weird deployment in the center or something, if he's using the 3-pip turn 1, I don't know. I mean, I think that Bossk probably bounties Cad. I don't know who Cad bounties though. I don't know.
That's a tough choice. Josh, what would you do if you were Cad?
Well, to be honest, I'm not sure that the Cad bounty actually matters here. I think I'm putting it on Iden no matter what to keep her honest, because Bossk is going to be far away, and it's going to be really hard for Cad to get in close to Bossk to get that bounty. Although he would be the easiest to kill, I think he's going to be the furthest away. So you're likely going to sacrifice Cad, a unit that's going to cost more in this scenario, in order to kill Bossk, and I don't think it's worth it. On the flip side, though, Bossk, I'm going to have to go differently, and I don't think I'm going to bounty Cad based on how the mines are laid out, or how the tokens are laid out. If he's aggressive with his tokens, yeah, I'm putting on Cad. If not, I'm putting on Grievous to keep Grievous honest, because more likely than not, that ATST is going to kill Cad as opposed to Bossk.
Tim, you actually lived through this game. What happened with the bounties? I didn't get.
It's very funny to hear you all talking about this game. I'm like, but it didn't happen. It's like the Ron Howard announcer, like from Arrested Development. They should put the bounty on Grievous, but they did.
Always bounty in the banana stand.
There's always bounties in the banana stand.
That's right. That's right. There's always victory points in the banana stand. Yeah, I think you all are very smart to think about the bounty game right now.
Are you telling me that you didn't?
I'll tell you right now, I did not.
You guys remembered the bounty, didn't you?
We did. We did. I don't think either one of us thought about it at this stage in the game.
Gotcha.
I don't get the. I mean, obviously, I can't speak for Eternal, but in talking with him and doing this Turn Zero stuff, I don't get the sense that either one of us were super factoring it in. So at this stage, I don't know, but I mean, I can tell you, we went back and forth. I mean, maybe I'm jumping ahead here on you. I don't mean to, but we went back and forth of who to bounty on each side, because both sides had 2 targets. Mm-hmm. And so he ended up bountying Iden, which was again a tough call, because with those wet T-shirt saves on Bossk, like he can die like that. But the issue with Bossk is going to be too far back. So, and then I ended up bountying Cad.
I think that's probably the right call. I said I was only going to moderate tonight, so I'm going to break my MO. I think that bountying Cad is probably the good decision. He's got white saves, so if you really hit him with the ATST ones, Bossk can realistically clean up really quickly. And on the other side, like, Cad's never going to be in range of Bossk. And if Cad's in range of Bossk, one of you two fucked up.
Yep.
I mean,
oh yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
We're going to drop our one F-bomb for tonight.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty good play. So let's move into the post game, right? Let's talk about turns 1 and 2, what we think are going to happen, who has the advantage. We're going to be playing key positions, the long march, and fortified positions. Let's start with Josh. Who do you think has the advantage going into turn 1 and turn 2, and what do you anticipate happening?
I think, based on it being key positions, being that I have more units that have longer range. The only units that are not hitting range 4 are the Naked Stormtrooper and Iden, I believe. I think there's a huge advantage in that. So what will happen is, I don't think you deploy Iden aggressively. You don't infiltrate her to keep her range 3 or her courage 3 band intact, and you just deploy conservatively and just shoot away the entire match. Just knock away B1s. If Cad or Grievous expose themselves, you knock them away, but you don't really push into range 3 of the B1s unless you're going to, unless there's a pretty good chance you're going to wipe one. What I think is going to happen is that Empire wins this, mostly because it's KP, it's the range battle. They don't have to make any moves, and that's what they want to do.
Keegan, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, and I'm trying to distance myself because I did watch a little bit of this game. I think the Empire definitely has an advantage here with proper positioning, putting their home key position back in a safe place where something like a range 4 mortar can just sit there and own it, and then everything else can move forward for the end game with the peppering, and that ISR on just getting into range, plus with not a ton of impact coming back the other way. I think that there's some good chance they've got it.
Nick.
Yeah, I kind of agree that like range is usually king in this game, and I think that it's not really an exception here. The ATST is a terrifying piece on a table like this, especially backed up by two T-21s, 2 mortars, a DLE stormtrooper, and a Bossk. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of B1 bodies to chew through. But I think that, like, over the course of 6 rounds, I think that, like, the Imperials, if their red saves hold up, I think that they can take this.
All right, Tim, what actually happened in the first couple of rounds? We have a unique perspective here. We have facts.
Now that we told you
references, but this is if everyone's ever seen the movie Clue, there's multiple endings to that movie where they go, "This is what could have happened." Like, this is what might have happened. Like, this is what really happened. This is what really happened. You're absolutely right, though. We deployed pretty standard. His BXs got right in that. We should back up for a second. Being blue player and being Long March, he was on the hillside because that's what he had chosen. That's how it worked out. So he was on the hillside. So just to get that cleared up. And so his BXs were right in. I'm pointing at the screen like you can see it. They were right.
You'll be able to.
Oh,
Don't worry, we are fancy here. We have graphics.
Neat.
We won't have your finger.
Thank you. And so they went right in the. I keep wanting to call it a bunker. The crater. Excuse me. The crater right in the middle, and the BXs went in there, and I think they stayed in there pretty much the whole time. And my ATST, it was interesting in positioning. He expected my ATST definitely probably to go in the middle. And I actually put it with the positioning of his army, I put it on the south side here, on the bottom side here, and kind of walked up the river, so to speak. And I walked up and having that was one of my most beautiful ATST angles I could have ever asked for because of where his positioning was. He didn't expect that. And so I could see everyone. Now, my first turn, I believe, and it's hard because it's not recorded, so I'm just going off of my memory. I believe turn 1 I had to move just one movement to get in range, but I think I did have a move shoot and pop that off, and so that felt good. And again, just wide open shots or light cover at best. And then pretty much everybody else in my army went up the middle, and Iden was behind the northern river section, behind the boxes in the bushes there, hiding. And because those trees are open, for those that don't know, they are open terrain, which I always forget about when I play. So Iden was just chilling out back there.
Tim, I have one question for you. Did the ATST survive the entire game?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Never got shot once.
So was there any effort to put the ATST on the center position to block out the B1s or Grievous from taking that center key position?
There wasn't, because I thought about that. And again, it's such a big base, it can do that. And the key positions, I guess we should probably note this here. Obviously, the bridge in the middle. And then mine was just to the left of the stack of boxes, the orange stack of boxes on my side of the map, just underneath the escape pod looking generator thing there. It was a little box there. That's where mine was. And his was the red crate up in the top right section. So it's pretty easy for both of us to keep ours. I would have moved my ATST up there, but the problem was, again, I had so many good shots on his army. B, it looked like things were going really well for that, and that was going okay, and we wouldn't require that. CAD was in the river, and so I got a clear shot on CAD, and I could see Grievous was eventually going to come around, so I didn't want to lose that super good positioning. I wasn't super worried about the ATST dying. The biggest thing for me, and this can probably be discussed in detail, I didn't want to lose the aim tokens. to move, I could have easily moved and shot, but then I would have had no aims, and I think it would probably would have been fine. But it just feels, when you're already paying for your hit pilot, you want those aims so you can maximize the hit and get as many surges as you can. And yeah, so that's probably an issue for me where I screwed up there.
So let's talk about those issues. We usually do a list critique version on the show. So tonight, Tim, your list is here, so we're going to use yours because we have some first-hand experience.
Yes.
So just as a quick refresher, we have Iden with a couple luxury upgrades. No rifle, correct? No rifle or repeater? Okay.
Yep.
2 shores, 2 mortars. Was it 2 snipers, an ATST, and Bossk?
No, not 2 snipers. 2 shores, 2 mortars, 2 stormtroopers, 1 with a DLT, and Bossk.
That's what it was. So
Yes.
let's go with Keegan. If you were in command of Tim's list, would you make a change, and why would you do so?
I play. I mentioned Rebels before, so I play a lot of Cassian, and I am still getting over my OCD about not maxing out loadout. So I don't.
Different people.
We are very different. We have a similar fondness for 800-point lists, though.
Yes.
I think. I know that there's been a lot of talk about her actually not really needing that. I like the idea of having her guns in there for the flexibility and the power and the punch. On the surface, that's pretty much the only change that I would make. This isn't set up to throw orders at the ATST, so I like the choice of pilot on there. Maybe make an argument for finding points for the mortar instead, but you've got the short trooper based mortars, so I'm pretty happy with this. Other than some Iden beef.
Yeah.
What do you think, Josh? You've played a few ATST lists in your day.
Yeah, I've played quite a bit of ATST. So 2 things that one thing that I'm aiming for, and I'm not sure how to accomplish it. I definitely want the mortar on the ATST, especially going into it, not knowing who I'm going to play. In this match particular, it becomes relevant because Grievous doesn't like suppression and neither does Cat. Cat does for danger sense, but losing an action is certainly going to affect him. So I like to play without the twin light blaster cannon. And I know not a lot of people like to do that, but I like to have my ATST usually sitting at range 4. So I would drop that, take the points to add a mortar, and also drop the 10 points on Bossk. I prefer a leaner Bossk because my Bossk dies a lot, and so that's points that just disappear. And I personally would have put either a repeater or a sniper on Iden just because it's going to be my only range 5 pierce weapon. So I would drop the upgrades from Bossk, drop the light blaster from the ATST, add a mortar, add the sniper on Iden.
Nicholas.
I like what both Josh and Keegan said. I might try and find a way to get a sniper strike team in there, just for some like range 5. Obviously, in this matchup, like the Imperials way outrange the droids, but in most cases, like there's in the meta we're playing in, there's going to be some range 5. I might have wanted to like drop the naked stormtroopers, maybe some of Bossk's upgrades to fit a DLT 19X, whatever it is, sniper. That's about it. Anytime I played an ATST, I like the twin light blaster, so I'm on that team. But I don't know. I haven't played Iden, so I can't speak to wanting her gun or not. But yeah, that's it.
So I'll quickly say I would like to bring Iden's gun into it. I would probably drop the 2 storms for strikes. 2 stormtroopers plus a DLT equals 2 sniper strikes plus Iden's gun. If you cut some of the upgrades off of Bossk. I've played Bossk quite a few times. I tend to just run him with Hunter / offensive push if it was legal. It's nice to get a kind of aggro with Bossk because the opponent does have to pay attention to him thinking he's got the bomb. So probably lean him out, get the ATST with the mortar, get the 2 snipers for the Pierce, and move on from there. But more importantly, Timothy, you played the list. It didn't work out for you. What would you like to redo?
So number 1, first off, which you all have addressed, number 1 mostly. Iden's repeater wasn't there. Now we have a semi-local. He's just over the hills here, and hills by mountains, but over the mountains here in North Carolina land, and Mr. Chris Beezer, and he has always been the preaching prophet of, we don't need Iden's gun. It's not worth it. And I've gone back and forth. I have flip-flopped more than a pancake. Like I couldn't tell you which way I'm going to go in any given list what I'm making. But after this game, I will tell you which way I'm going. Always get that repeater, kids. Bring it. Because here's what happened. Iden marched up to Cad Bane. I think she had 2 or 3 aims. I think she had 3 aims.
This is about what I too did.
Yes. 6 white dice because we're range 1. We're like right face to face with Cad. 6 white dice into Cad. Blanks. We say, you know what? With all the aims and things and all the cool things we got, let me give it a shot. Let me just try because, so I only spent 1 aim to re-roll 2 of them. Blanks. So nothing but blanks. So then, of course, I just spent the other 2 aims just to get a pierce in there and just to, which I believe he then impervious and then blocked.
Yep.
So then nothing even happened.
Yep.
So that's fun times. So always bring your repeater. Always. That's
and even
number
then,
1.
that repeater really mulches those B1s too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I've learned I think it takes a lot of personal trial and error. I'm a repeater, man. I started that way. I'm going to finish out that way. Anyway, sorry, I'll harp on that all night. But then my other big thing, it's interesting to hear y'all discuss how you don't like the scopes on Bossk, because I won't leave home without scopes on Bossk. That has saved games for me. Because that extra because white dice are white dice, dude.
Yeah.
Like you want to re-roll as many as you can on I'm telling you, that extra 1 has saved games for me.
I
hear what you're saying, but for 4 points,
yeah.
I gotta take it.
I didn't address it, and I of course don't have Bossk experience, but I've run a ton of Biston Pathfinders, and targeting scopes on a white dice pool makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, if I can fit them, I'll put them on the T21s too, but I can't always do that. But other than the Iden's repeater, I really like what you said. I think I really agree with drop the storms, put the 2 snipers on there, and get Iden's repeater on there. I think that's beautiful. The mortar, Josh, I think you're kind of convinced me more on the mortar side. I've never been the mortar man on the ATST. I've always liked that extra firepower. But I think meta being what it is right now, it's so dangerous to get into that range 3, even with an ATST. It's still, they're white saves at Surge, but still white dice. And a lot of things are critical and different things now. So I think I can get behind the mortar idea, honestly.
So jumping the gun a little bit for our notorious Zero University Cast X team for Team League Round 2, Tim, I believe you're actually adding some strikes to an ATST for our list, right?
Well, I didn't want to give away everything to the enemy, but sure, let's do
some. Don't worry.
Sure,
it'll be okay.
Let's just shoot ourselves in the foot with a 12-gauge shotgun and wonder why it hurts. That's fine.
We'll just flop it out. I'm going ISF. You're going ATST. We'll have some fun. It's all right.
Yeah,
you kind of confuse
we'll have some
the opponent a little bit.
That's right.
And
We just need to go 3-2.
I'm running all snowtroopers. 6 units of snowtroopers. That's what I'm running. There you
If
go.
only that was legal.
To be fair, this is only our 3rd episode. That you're probably just shooting yourself in the foot with the 22.
Fair enough. It's a flesh wound.
We have moved to the end of our 3rd episode, though, as Keegan has mentioned. So let's talk about the giveaway I mentioned at the start. We have a Clan Ren expansion to give away to somebody in the continental U.S. because international shipping is a bitch right now. So if you're in the U.S., please send us a message either to our email, which is LegionTurnZero@gmail.com, or to, is it Peregrine?
Peregrine, yeah.
Peregrine.
On the Discord. Peregrine.
There's a falcon.
He is a mod. His name is Pink. It's not hard to find him. If you send him a message, go ahead and give your first name, your last name, the address you would like it sent to, and then your list that includes Clan Ren, and we'll pick our top 5 lists, randomly select amongst the 5 via random generators, and send a Clan Ren expansion to whoever wins. Something to keep in mind, if you have some super secret tech that you're not trying to expose to the public, if we pick your list, it's going on the show, so people are going to see it. So present your list that you want people to see. Send us the message once again to either LegionTurnZero@gmail.com or Peregrine on the Discord. We'll pick that and we'll get set for next week. In the meantime, my name is Ghost Walking. According to FFG, I've played Legion a few times, even though I can't write an article for him.
The Legion expert.
Yeah.
All the
it's
Legion
been-
experience and none of the spell check.
Please keep sending me your hate mail. I've really appreciated it over the last week. I do make mistakes on cards that aren't released yet. But we will be all set for next week. We will see you in a couple of weeks. Tim, thank you for joining us tonight. You can check out STABcast on Podbean. They're also on iTunes podcasts
And Spotify.
They're relatively decent. Bees is better at introductions than Tim, but we won't hold it against
Absolutely.
him.
He's better than all of us, really. That's why he's not on the show. He's too good for us.
Yeah, he's too busy drinking Hoss Kool-Aid, but you know.
Oh, man. No, he's too busy forgetting Iden's repeater is what he's doing. Which is bad, Beezer. You hear me? It's bad.
But
Bring the
my name-
repeater.
My name is Mike Cirillo. I'm here with Keegan, Nick, Tim, and Josh, and we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Have a wonderful night.